Hey guys, today we are going to be talking all about the latest season 5 episode, Destruction, upcoming release dates for future episodes, along with recent spoilers that have been shared with us for episode 4, Jubilation. But as always, before we get into today's video, be sure to subscribe so you never miss the tea on the show you love. Now, let's get into it. So the episode begins in Marinette's room as she's watching Alia's recent video on the Lady blog, recapping the current situation with Monarch and the Miraculouses, but Alia, being the friend she is keeping an eye on Marinette during their sleepover and not allowing for her to watch those things. In the meantime, over in Gabriel's lair, we can see him demanding of the Kwamis to guide him to where Ladybug is, but as the Kwamis try to explain to him over and over again, they are not capable of doing that, and this scene honestly had me laughing. However, it's only until he asks of them to tell him where she lives that he's finally onto something, or at least he thought. As Marinette explained to Alia towards the end of the episode, she'd been preparing for a situation like this since last season, in case Monarch were to try and get the Kwamis to speak, and so she trained the Kwamis on what to say and created a plan that involved a sequel of clues, and the first being to follow the smell of croissants. This would guide Monarch to Marinette's house, where from there, she'd hand him a key, in which she claimed was given to her by Ladybug, which would be used to open one of the lockers in the ice rink, and in the Ladybug charm connected to the key, a slip of paper with the number 42 was on it, so that he would believe he was getting closer to discovering her address, further motivating him to continue his search for the clues. Since Ladybug previously visited the rink for herself and mentioned to Philippe how he should continue to always share selfies with the latest celebrities and or visitors that come by, this was because it would help notify both her and Cat Noir when it was Monarch was falling right into their trap and when they'd need to head over to the museum to prepare. And speaking about preparation, here we can see Cat Noir practicing getting into position so that it would be believable to Monarch that he really was the statue. Now, when it was that Ladybug was going over all of this with Cat Noir, she gave him the last clue Monarch would be looking for after the one at the rink guided him to the museum, and it was no other than a slip of paper, but this time saying half-wit, that would be stored in Cat Noir's bell until the moment arised, meaning that, like Alia mentioned, he had that piece of paper in his bell for who knows how long. So while everything was going to plan, and soon enough, Ladybug and Cat Noir had him backed into a corner with no other choice but for him to obey the both of them, or else he'd face the consequences of getting cataclysmed. Ultimately, he did it to himself right on his arm, and because he ended up leaving the scene with Ladybug's lucky charm wrapped around him, this meant that there was no way for Ladybug to repair his arm, and now he'd be left with a scar so bad that his arm would be trembling. And in case you're curious as to why the cataclysm didn't ruin Monarch entirely like how it did for Uncanny in the New York special, it's because a cataclysm can have various effects. And so as we reach the end of the episode, not only do we see Adrian talk to Gabriel about no longer wanting to model, but we also see Gabriel creating his transmission rings, as well as designing his new suit and converting the Miraculouses into powder that would soon end up in the Alliance rings. This has me wondering how it is Ladybug and Cat Noir will be retrieving the Miraculouses, and whether or not they'll ever go back to how they once were, since considering we see the rings wrapped around them at the end of the new season 5 intro, this might just become the new look for the Miraculouses. Also, notice how yet another advanced machine he's using here has Tomoe's brand logo on it. And something else that I want to know is the quick appearance of Natalie that we get. Things between her and Gabriel have been off to a rocky start this season, and while they seem to be okay during this quick scene, considering recent spoilers we've gotten of the two, such as them arguing in the kitchen, Natalie getting emotional while watching the video messages Emily left behind for her, and the overall emotion and vibe we're getting from her this season, I'm very curious and concerned for what else we'll be seeing from Natalie and how it is she'll handle the situation between Gabriel's dreams and Emily's wishes. The ending of this episode felt really confusing at first because, as we know from multiplication, not only was Adrian already freed from modeling, but we also saw one of the alliance rings being tested and Gabriel wearing his new white suit. While this was episode 3, it seems to me like this should have actually been episode 2. But as always, what do you guys think? Besides the continuity of this episode not exactly matching up, I did still enjoy it. I will enjoy any Miraculous episodes. And while this won't be a favorite of mine, I feel that it was definitely one that was necessary so that the season can continue progressing onwards and moving on to more new and exciting things. Also, while the season has only just begun, I am so pleased with the animation we are seeing. Now, after Gloob aired the episode, they did share with us a new trailer for episode 4, Jubilation, which they plan to air next Monday on October 24th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and for the most part, it did include already seen spoilers. However, there was one new part of a scene shared, which had Gabriel using his alliance ring, where on the screen we can see Emily or possibly Amelie. Honestly, I am glad that this trailer didn't spoil much more, because considering the amount of trailers and spoilers that we have been getting recently, it's already made and might continue to make the episodes underwhelming. And while I do love spoilers, there's definitely a limit. It makes me think back to when the first part of the season 4 finale was accidentally shared, which was so crazy. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because we literally did not know anything going into the episode, and it was just so much more exciting. And so I really do hope that they can calm down a little bit with the spoilers. I mean, I know the season just started, but let's chill out. And lastly, let's do a recap of all of the upcoming episode release dates we currently have. On October 24th, Gloob will be airing Jubilation episode 4, and as for all of our other release dates, these are coming from Teifu, with the first being for episode 6, Determination, on October 28th, Passion episode 7 on October 31st, Reunion episode 8 on November 1st, and Illusion episode 5 on November 2nd. Now, this is just speculation, but I assume that Gloob will air the 5th episode on October 31st, if it is that they continue to air the episodes in order. But either way, this means that Teifu will be breaking the chronological order for episode releases, and that next week we can expect 2 new episodes, and the following week 3 new episodes. And since we're already on the topic of release dates, next week on October 25th, the brand new Miraculous game, Rise of the Sphinx, will be releasing, and I'm curious to know whether or not you plan on picking it up. I know I've been debating for a little while now, but after seeing some more recent teasers of the game, I'm pretty sure I'll end up getting it. As always, be sure to let me know your thoughts and theories down below, and subscribe so you never miss the tea on the show you love. And I'll see you guys in the next one.